So I'll be just trying out this one OpenAI search that we had tried, I think, last time, Azure OpenAI search. This sample. We have already set this up, but now task is to call the API that this solution has generated from our application. So it creates a web application where we can try and test this particular solution. So yeah, this is a sample UI that it will generate. So what our task is to call an API that this web application is calling. So whatever API this application is calling, we'll be calling the same API from our custom application. And to start with that, um, Azure OpenAI search. And let me show you a good example. So instead of we doing it on our Visual Studio Code, we can either use GitHub code spaces and remote containers. GitHub code spaces, that is much faster. Copy image link. So basically, it just creates a virtual machine assigned to your GitHub account and run all this commands, solutions, create Docker, everything in that virtual machine. And there will be an online VS Code editor in this one. Yeah. So it is now setting up my code space. You can try this out. This is really cool feature of GitHub, where if you do not have your local development environment, you can make use of this code spaces. Okay, connecting to code space, downloading my source code. There we have our source code. Okay, let's try with those commands again. EZT auth login. Let's create a environment. Let's use this and keep my existing files. Now, okay, so earlier we tried with South Central US, but currently that region is not supported for OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, so we'll be using East US. By the time this is setting it up, let's create a very simple chatbot. I think I already have that here. Yeah, I already have it here and I'll be making use of the same. So whenever I get a message, I'll be sending that to my method. And here I'll be calling the API. Okay, let's modify this now. Post request. This will be our URL. This is not required since it is a public API. And here we'll be passing our content. And read as string, that's the response string. And as of now, let's extract the text. That will be better. And let's not use the model class to extract the text. Let's use JSON object. Return G object. And whatever the answer will be coming, we'll be returning that. And it has to be string. And let's change the return type, task string. And that is all. Now, instead of this reply text, let's send OpenAI response. Okay. Our bot is ready. Now we just have to change the processing content and on body. Let's see where is the status. It created the resource group, app service plan, storage account, Azure OpenAI, form recognizer, now creating the search service. So here it is. Even the search service is also created. App service is also created. It is going to deploy the local solution to the Azure app service. Before that, let me also show you the API that we'll be calling. If you go to the app front end, source, API, api.ts. So it has two APIs. One is for the DaVinci model and one is for the ChatGPT model. This ask is for DaVinci model that is more accurate, and this is for the ChatGPT model. Yeah. So yeah. So basically, it is this JSON body. It is preparing. So we will also do it on our application side. Or basically, we'll be using the standard values. We will notice what API call is being made using the inspect tool in the browser. From there, we'll be calling the JSON body. And how this is being received on the backend side, this is the code. We go to backend, app.py. Yeah, this is the one. Ask, this is for the Ask DaVinci models. And this is for the ChatGPT model. From here, it just retrieves the response. So yeah, so since this is handled automatically, we just have to call the API so that it just receive response back with a response. Okay, it's almost done. I think the app service deployment is still pending. By the time this is getting done, let me open this application, copy the app service URL, and paste it in our application. and that should be slash ask. We'll be making use of ask endpoint. You can also make use of chat endpoint. Ask is basically gives the response specific to the context. And here we'll be writing our JSON body. So it is deploying the solution now. Okay, this is done. It will be getting prepared in 2 minutes. Let's open this URL and check this out. Okay, it's still getting prepared. That's fine. Max, it will take 1 minute or two. So this is done. Now let's go to ask a question. This is for the ask endpoint. This is for the chat endpoint. Let's make use of this chat endpoint. Sorry, ask endpoint. And I'm just sending a query. So here you can see this ask query is being sent. This endpoint we have already copied. Let's go to the payload, view source. This JSON body will be copying and pasting in our API call. Okay. All right. So here this particular question needs to be dynamic message. Okay, that is all is required. Let's test this out. Let me copy the question from here. What does a product manager do? Let's see. There it is. We have the response same as that of here. The response will not be exactly same. It will just generate some difference will be there in the response compare the way how we call here and the way it is called on the website. But yeah, we do get a response. Yeah, same way you can use the chat endpoint as well. Okay, that is all. Thanks everyone.